All right, we are live. Are y'all ready to get this thing going?
Oh yeah, we're ready.
Let's do it.
KTTV, giving you what you need. Motivation, education unleashed. H-Town representing, we forever keep it rolling. Join the conversation with inspirational stories. Thought-provoking, feel that energy. Kendrick Thomas aiming to lift the community. True indeed, tune in, come and see. Giving you what you need. KTTV, let's go. KTTV.
What to do, KTTV? This is KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of Education Unleashed. And on tonight, I got the second show with my co-host, the oh so wonderful Dr. Wise. How you doing tonight, Dr. Wise?
I'm doing well.
Look, I don't know if y'all seen this, but 2 weeks in a row so far, she's pulled this Ohio State Buckeyes out. Look, it's been real. And so we also have my guest in the building. So y'all had a little tidbit of this. What was that, last year? Last year when we was at? But see, tonight you're gonna get the full story here. We got the author, the educator, soon to be administrator.
Soon to be administrator.
Miss Percival Jewell Gibbs.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me.
Look, thank you so much for taking some time out of the busy schedule. Come on and simply talk about the work. I know that you are at the conference right now, and so you are making this time. So thank you so much.
Oh, no problem at all.
All right. So Dr. White, you retired. It's been at least a few days since we talked.
Yes.
What's been going on in your world? Talk to us.
Well, I've been catching up on some much needed rest.
Yeah.
When you put in nearly 40 years, you have to rest your body and regroup. But I'm back at it. I'm ready to go now. But outside of that, everything is well. Everything is well. I can't complain. It won't do any good. So
that's what they say.
It might well keep it moving.
That is what they tell us. And for you, let's give simply just checking in. How have you been doing, and how are you staying sane in the midst of all this work we got going on?
I have been doing amazing. Ain't talking about being sane. I'm like Dr. Wise. I have to get my rest in. Like I need at least 6 to 8 hours. Like I do not shy away from sleep, but the work goes on. It must go on. So I have to stay in. I have to continue learning because we have this department called teaching and learning. So being in the work is what I do. There's no opting out of it. So here we are. Let's do it. Let's make an impact. Black excellence all the way.
All the way.
I feel you on that. Look, I was like, I took off yesterday because some days you just, like you said, you just got to regroup. So I regrouped, and then I came back today, and I was so refreshed. The kids, though, the only thing about it is you're
gonna be jealous of me.
Wow.
Our district had this whole week off.
Oh, what is that called? Winter break?
What is this?
No, seriously, that's our schedule now. Where we have a week off every month.
Oh, wow. Nice. There's some serious teaching going on now. Some serious teaching.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You keep talking about you need this mental time, mental break. Hey, we're gonna give you a week so you can come back refreshed and let's get back to teaching and let's be in the learning. Let's go. It's go mode. It's go mode. It's instruction time.
When did y'all start this?
This is the second year. And when I say love it, because it gives people time to be with their families, to engage, to shut down, to cut off, and just have that time to themselves.
Yes.
Where they can come back refreshed and motivated to teach.
Yeah.
But you ain't even have to take off this week, like to do the conference.
Nice.
I didn't have to take off because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to put in. So some say, Percival, look up to see which week you're off in February. And I was like, oh, this is the week that we're off. Perfect. So, and I'm going to Galveston. So guess what? Thank you, Lord.
I know that.
I needed this.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move the show forward now for the one person that is at work this week. Well, hold on. Listen, I'm still here. I mean, you know, my God, people. All right. Well, I hope you do take that time off. I do think that's an awesome schedule. Yeah, I want to say that kind of Trump, Superintendent Patterson. Like they just got one day. Y'all get the full week. Just put all my days together. That's okay. I love it, man. All right, well, y'all. Thank y'all for that check-in. Now, what we'll do is let's get into a little bit of the news. And I think this week, Dr. Wise, is gonna pull up. Let's go. In tonight's news, we have, of course, y'all know we got last week. We talked about these vouchers. This week, there's been a lot of talk about the Department of Education dismantling. I think they came to the building a few weeks ago, maybe, and they were locked out of the building or something that was going on. But with so much talk about what's happening with the Department of Education, I felt like tonight would be very appropriate to grab a news story so that we can kind of get caught up on what's going on and where we are inside of this. So big shouts out to NBC for DFW for this story. But they're saying what dismantling Department of Education could mean for colleges, student loans, and access. And so the biggest thing we know is that you have to be authorized by Congress, right, to even eliminate the Department of Education. Now, is the Congress all red and they riding with Trump to the wheels fall out? Yes, that's how we got like Darth Vader approved as like the health people. But understanding that it has to be congressional approval. But in the meantime, the plan for Musk and Trump is to slowly cripple it. And if I'm mistaken or misspeaking, please y'all jump in. But I'm saying what they're doing is taking it piece by piece. And so while some of the department's programs may be transferred to other agencies, the transition could cause major disruptions to the nation's 1.6 trillion student loan program. I'm going to speak for everybody who still got loans to say, if it do cause trouble, maybe it's going to erase them. Maybe the glitch or something happens. I don't know for sure.
We're talking
the Trump administration has already begun carrying out its plans to close parts of all of the Department of Education, which was responsible for underwriting the loans. But what they're saying is probably the Treasury will pick up underwriting those loans. And so that's how they would do that. Some of the deep cuts that's already happened cannot be eliminated. Let me see here. It says the American Educational Research Association and the Council of Professional Association on Federal Statistics said 169 contracts were canceled. Wow, includes some related to the collection and reporting of educational statistics. And we know education is based off this data. It's all, then we talked about the student loans, as we said. So slowly but surely, we think about this has been in, when did Jimmy Carter put this into play? What was it? Like 69 or maybe somewhere up in there?
Yeah,
But either way. So then they said this happened one more other time in history when Ronald Reagan tried to come in and kill the Department of Education. So I will say to you all, what y'all think about it?
Well, under Reagan, did the Democrats control the House during that time? I wonder, because I was just curious why he didn't accomplish that. So perhaps that was the reason. But what concerns me is, the Republicans, they control Congress now. So he has a pretty good chance of getting this passed. I hope not. I hope not, for the sake of low-income children from those families, because many of them won't be able to go to college without being able to get those grants. We don't know what's going to happen to the money there. Then you have our special education. If IDEA go away, who's going to monitor that? What about those children? Who's going to make sure that their needs are being met through their IEPs? It's going to hit us really hard if this thing goes over, and particularly children from low income backgrounds. So I'm really concerned about this. I just hope that our Congress people out there, that we would call them, you can call them and express your concerns about it. And hopefully someone would say, why do this? This is too important to our educational system, in which people say, is subpar right now. We're not meeting the needs of children from low income background, so forth and so on. And just to do this is just stacking on and making it even worse. And I'm really, really concerned about that. So
most definitely.
And more than anything, piggybacking on that, I hope they do the research, because compared to other states, as far as the countries, where do we stand? Other countries excel above us in everything when it comes to education. And then we have to think about who it's going to affect. Just like you said, Dr. Wise, it's going to affect our early childhood programs. It's going to affect our literacy programs. And it's already a gap when it comes to literacy and our children reading. So that's going to affect everything. So you're so worried about the country. So my question is, are you really concerned about the country and where we stand when it comes to education and the advancement of us in education? So we're going to have to take a stance on all levels.
Yeah. And the education field, is a female dominated field. And I'm just hoping that the wives of these congressmen speak to your husband, tell them take their hands off of education and off our children. You mothers out there. That
education affects Republicans, Democrats, it affects us all.
That's right.
What party you're with does not matter. It's education. You all have children.
Right.
Most definitely. Well, the biggest thing is time will tell. But right now, they are accomplishing their goals of slowly crippling the entire government. As we looked yesterday, he was allowed to kind of move forward with sending out the notices of take this or your job may go away. And so I think we just getting started, y'all. So we're going to buckle up and see where this is going to put this education at the end of these 4 years.
He has put in 47 executive orders in 3 weeks. When Biden in 4 years only put in 70. This is 4 years compared to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Guys, he's trying to make sure there's a lot going on, because they're doing stuff behind the scenes. He's trying to keep them so discombobulated that when he does these underlying things that we don't see it, but we have to pay attention. If any time we need to stay woke, it's now.
Stay woke.
To keep up.
And I'm not saying that there are not areas in which we could do better and they need to go in and clean it up, have some oversight and all of that. But how can you just come in this quickly? Have you looked at everything? That concerns me. Take a good look at everything and don't just say wipe it out. Fix it if it needs to be fixed.
Well, I just wanted to do a shameless plug. Since we did talk about literacy, and I just want to put that on the screen, Bright Futures Initiative, that is my nonprofit, and we do focus on literacy. We are creating our mobile bus. We are working and coming to a neighborhood near you.
Nice.
Nice. We just trying to put it together here slowly, but I agree with that, trying to bridge that gap for literacy. So we target intermediate kids, and right now we need $250,000.
So what number would this be? Because I know in Galena Park, we had a mobile bus for Galena Park School District. And it's this big blue bus with clouds, but that was the only one I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
So,
we're gonna this thing is, hopefully, if we can do it right, it's gonna be set up just like a classroom. Like, we got our stations, we got our small group areas, all that kind of stuff. That's what we want, So
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna take some work, but I do want it like that. With free Wi-Fi.
With free Wi-Fi.
We're free. When we pull up, everybody can connect. It's going to happen, I promise. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for the news. I want to say again, thank y'all for that input. Now, what we'll do when we take this break and come back, you got the book. Give me just a little bit of the book. Just do a little flash of it before we. When we get back, we're going to talk about this book right here. We're going to talk about all this work that Miss Percival is doing. So y'all make sure y'all keep it locked. We'll be right back.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the
Hey, look, I don't know if y'all know. I just do that for fun. Welcome back to Education Unleashed. I am your host, KT, with my co-host.
Oh,
Doctor, that's when you're supposed to come in.
I was thinking about something else about that article.
Hey,
I'm
look,
Dr.
hold on,
Wise,
Doc.
y'all. I'm here. I'm
Hey,
here.
thank you, Doc. You got to be tuned in. Doc, we're gonna get locked. We're gonna get her locked in. This is on number 2, y'all. It's coming. All right.
I'm a laser focused kind of person. Okay. I'm sorry.
Trust me, I understand.
Let's get into our guest for tonight. Percival Jewell Gibbs, certified teacher who has shaped and molded lives of many students throughout her 24. Is it 20? How many is that? Is it 24?
This year makes 24 years in education.
24-year teaching career. Top-notch Christian Academy and after-school learning center tutoring is the vision that God gave Percival. She played a major role in implementing policies, procedures, and new curriculum for many schools in Houston, Texas. She has a passion for the spiritual growth and academic success of children. The opportunity to serve God's children through a top-notch education fuels her eagerness for top-notch results. Percival holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in public administration and a minor in psychology from Stephen F. Austin. Atrocious Nacogdoches. Man. She currently serves as a member of the League of Women Voters, the League of Business and Professional Women, Inc. Welcome our guest to the stage. Oh, Ms. Percival Gibbs, educator and author. How you doing tonight, Ms. Percival?
I'm wondering what you left off that I just recently got my master's from Grand Canyon University in Educational Leadership in Administration in July. Yeah.
Look, hold up. I will put the hand claps back on. All right. Well, God bless you. You know, this road is not for the weary. And so once you take that bridge and you jump this broom, be ready. All right. So now jumping into some of the work tonight, I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have. You know, simply like you say, talking about kind of sort of your why, how you've done this thing for 24 years. And then the biggest piece is the book and what's next for you, right? As you get ready to take that journey and that leap. And so I guess just jumping right into it. With an educational journey that has spanned over 2 decades, what was that moment that made you realize that education is your true calling?
Because I did not go to college for education. I went to college to be a physical therapist and realized that I did not love science. So then I changed my major to public administration. So I'm a poli-sci major. So I didn't know the ins and outs of that with that minor in psychology. So realized that when I was interning in Nacogdoches, that was not for me. That sitting behind a desk, it was just boring. I'm like, I need to make an impact. How can I make an impact in the world? I need to do something. So, of course, my mom was an educator for 30 years. And so I was like, let me try teaching. Because I always said I was not going to be a teacher because she brought the work home. I decided to go to a charter school, Candy Stripe Academy in South Park on MLK. They were HSE charter school, and I did not have to have a certification. And I taught kindergarten. And guys, I fell in love with teaching because to see the light bulb go off in those students and how they enjoyed seeing me, someone that looked like them, and that was from where they were, it meant the world to me. And if you would see the impact in them learning, going on to live these productive lives and how we interacted with the parents, that's when I knew, I was like, okay, Lord, this is where I want to be. This is the type of work that I need to be, especially in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I tell you, they say it's 2 main reasons that should be the best times in your life. And they say the first day you get here, and then the day you find out why you're here. Right. And so I think once you get that done, that's when the page is turned. I tell everyone,
if I can't do anything else, I can teach. And I'm going to teach and make sure you get it and you learn. When I say instruction is my thing, I love it. I can get up in the morning teaching. I go to bed at night teaching. I need you to get this. I don't care what age, what color, you are going to learn. You're going to get on this train. Either I'm going to push you or I'm going to pull you, but you're going to get it today.
And then that makes me think about the tutoring, right? And the Christian Academy. So what gaps did you see that was kind of missing as you doing that teaching to make you say, you know what, I'm gonna do the district, but then I think I'm gonna start my own thing on the side?
Because with me teaching in a lot of the inner cities like South Park, because I taught at I was in HISD for 6 or 7 years at Alcott in South Park, and I saw the need, but my parents started asking me to help their kids, to tutor them. And not only tutor the kids, but then the parents asked me to tutor them, because the way they were taught reading and math, that's not how they learned it. So the kids would get home and they wouldn't know how to help them. It's like, Ms. Gibbs, I need to be able to help my own child. But that's how it started. Like parents over and over again, even once their child left me, when they saw that they were not getting the results maybe that they saw with me, they would call on me because they had my access to me. Anytime of day, number, email, call me, whatever you need. Even when your child leaves me, I'm still here for you. So that's how it started. So I'm like, okay, well, let me start, doing this on the side with tutoring. And it took off from there. Now, mind you, I've been doing this for 13 years with the tutoring. So I've been in it, but most of those years it was not a company. This is just my love for it, where I was having super Saturdays for those parents that could not afford the tutoring. I would have it at a church. And the church would let me use their fellowship center, and parents could bring them. And I would work with them on things that we're doing in class, because everything was aligned by standards in Texas. So they were going to get what they needed, for every day. And that's how it started. Me making connections in the community, me even feeding the kids, because they didn't eat on the weekends. So I would make sure they were getting meals when they come to me, like full meals. We'll have people come in and feed them, because a child can't learn if they're hungry.
Yes.
So that's really how it started, with me doing it at home, and just everyone, it was a need for it. And now it's just taking off.
Yeah.
And then with everything being Christian and like I want to say religious, but just with that connotation, like how did you kind of implement that in a way that promoted student success while still, or did you kind of mix them, or how did that go?
No, I did. I mixed it, because in the summertimes I would have a camp, a literacy camp, but it was all Bible based. They had to learn how to read the Lord's Prayer. And I'm teaching them about the Bible and how, how people speak to you, because there's life and death in the power of the tongue. So I would always speak kindness to them. They would learn Bible stories. That was a part of their learning, as well as math and reading. But they had to learn Bible stories. We learned songs, because think about it, we were in Bible school or Sunday school, we had to learn songs. So we do all of that. And that's where it comes, because at the end of the day, God gave me this vision to speak to his children, to make sure they know who they are in me. So you have to implement that. You are a Christ child. You were made in his likeness and image, which means you're great. No matter your color, no matter your size, you are him. You're his child. So and when people say that with Christian, like you said, a lot of people that come to me too, because it's also witnessing too at the end of the day. Because a lot of them come to me, they say, well, Ms. Gibbs, I'm not a Christian. That's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. Now, I'm a Christian organization. So you have to choose. Your child is going to have to recite the Lord's Prayer, because they have to read it at the beginning and at the end of each session. Mm-hmm. So they were like, that's fine. So I had one family that did not believe, but by the time, and they're still with me, they are believers now. So the work is there, the witnessing is there, and it makes a huge impact. And I'm just not going to stop it at all.
Yeah, I don't think you need to stop.
Yeah. If I could jump in, something came to mind with a question. And I heard you talk about, witnessing, the bringing in the Bible. What type of funding do you get for is this your after school program we're talking about here?
Yes.
Your tutorial?
Well, I get sponsors a lot of time. The Houston Police Department, and this is with my church members, people that I know, they will sponsor a lot of things. Like I haven't, Dr. Wise, let me tell you how much I've been blessed. Well, I have not had to come out of pocket every time I have one of these literacy camps in the summertime. They whoever I call on, they provide, because every child gets a binder with everything in it, the schedule, the scriptures we're going over, everything that they need, our supplies, all of that's provided. Someone is doing so. Sponsorship, that is how it's funded. Sponsorship.
And so this is just a summer program, or are you doing this throughout the school year after?
So the tutoring is throughout the school year. But then in the summertime, parents want more. They want to continue it.
Yeah.
But then that's when I have the literacy camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then during COVID, I had to pivot because now I had to do it online when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that a lot of parents are liking that online because their kids are online a lot. So it's been rewarding. It's been very rewarding.
Well, do you have plans to expand? I know it's just I don't mean say just a tutoring is very important, but do you have a vision to expand into a full-blown school one day? What?
Oh, yeah.
5 years from now?
That is the next goal, because once I do retire, I will start my own school. Because like I said, the work does not stop. That's always been the goal, to open a daycare and a school. That has always been the number one goal.
Because it seems to me the time is ripe, despite of how we feel and what our political views about things. This is a time is ripe for schools like your school, and you want to bring in, God into the schools and open up your own school. I mean, the money seems to me is going to be out there now. So it to me would be a good time you might as well take the advantage of it, and churches out there as well. Time to open up your own school if that's what they're going to give us money to do.
It's definitely going to be time.
Thank you for the encouragement, Dr. Wise. And the advice. The time is now. Everybody say it with me. The time is now.
Man. All right. Woo. So now let's talk a little bit about this book that you wrote. My Bright Light. So we know it's an inspiring message.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about this in our last interview, but what was the driver behind you even sitting down to pen this book together?
It was about me finding purpose through my pain. 3 years ago, my 14-year-old cousin was murdered. And he was murdered by 5 of his classmates. Wow. Yeah, it was premeditated. They had it planned out and everything, guys. So when we asked the shooter why, he said because he was just extra. That was the only reason he gave. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, you were jealous of his light. Mm-hmm. So I remember when it happened, all of his principals and teachers were coming by, and they kept saying that he was like a light. He lit up every room that he entered. And they said you could tell where he had been because the atmosphere would just change, because his light was just that bright, that he was just change. He was determined to change your mood. If you were not in a good mood, he was going to make you be in a good mood before he left you. That was just him. So when they talk about that extra, that's what they're talking about, because his light was so bright and they were just jealous of him. Mm-hmm. And because he did not conform to the world. Yeah. Because we always taught him, you have Christ in you and you do what's right. And he always stood up for the underdogs. He didn't put up with bullying. He didn't do anything. He was one of those, he was going to stand up for you. So, and they knew that, and they did not like that. So that's where My Bright Light came from, because it's a story about him, because they had moved to a new school. And going to this new school, you encounter bullies, because they had been dealing with this for 2 years. Whether they're coming to my cousin's house, the school had to get involved, the principals, everyone. We thought it was over with. But then they do this. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking, because he went, we know God doesn't make mistakes, but when they say that the people called for him to come out and meet them at the basketball court, I guess he thought maybe it was over. It was like, why would you even go? So, exactly. So that's where this book came from. Just me finding purpose through my pain, because it was very healing and therapeutic for me, because his story needs to be told. Yes. Because even in death, you can't put out his light.
Man, and so since you got the book, I know you did the sales. How has the book been reviewed? Like, what have people been talking to you about after reading?
after reading it, I had a church meal just this past Sunday. Now, mind you guys, we're about to consecrate and pray. And she grabbed my hand because she bought a book. She said, baby, I'm here to tell you. She said, my grandson was on his way to, he's about to be shipped off. He just joined the service. She said, I know it's a children's book. She said, but I gave him that book. And I said, I need you to read this because it's about self-confidence. No matter what, remember who you are in Christ. Don't let anyone tell you different. Even with what's going on in the world, you still belong to God and you do what's right. And so when she said that, I was just like, wow. And then there's so many people as far as my my friends who are letting their kids read it. And they send themselves in. It's all about representation anyway. Because they're not even just looking at the words, guys. They're looking at the pictures, the illustrations about how it's a black boy with his hair like the boys now. And he's a chubby kid. So all of that matters. So when I say it's, because it's talking about self-confidence, self-awareness, because right now we're in the era of social emotional learning. Us being able to navigate be in this world of bullies. And how do you handle that? You know, what's your response? Do you act out in anger? You try to solve it. You talk to God about it. You talk to your parents. You have to reach out. Because I remember at our memorial that the kids had, one of the principals spoke out and he said, parents, you guys don't know what your kids are going through every day at home and at school. He said, we hear it all. He said, this is not even the tip of the iceberg. He said, so there needs to be conversation, more conversations. Open up a lot of conversations too. That's what one of the people that bought my book, they said, Percy, we had to talk about the bullying because one of their children said, I'm being bullied like this now. And the parents were like, what? Why didn't you say anything? And they were just like, because if I tell my parents, then you come to the school and I get bullied even more. It's worse.
Yeah, most definitely.
So then it's almost like, well, parents, how do you navigate that? So now that's a talk. So then I told my friend, I said, you still have to go to administration, but then you have to tell them they know how to handle it now because they know that that's the repercussion of it. I say, trust me, you have to have it documented though, because that was one thing that we had, guys, because we documented everything when it happened with my cousin being bullied. The investigators were able to go back to the schools and talk to principals because they talked to everyone because it was on record with us going to the school and talking to the principal. So that's what I told him. I said, because my thing is you don't want it to get to the point where, you know, your child is hurt or assaulted or killed even. I said, even though it happened with us and we did everything, we know it was out of our hands because it was just time God called him home. But still, you still have to do the work and you still have to have these conversations about bullying. And if you don't fit in, it's okay.
Now, where can we purchase this book?
So, Dr. Wise, it will soon be on Amazon. We're working on that now, but also you'll be able to get it on my website because it will be up and running tomorrow with all of that where you fill out. I also have merchandise. I have t-shirts that say My Bright Light with the scripture and everything on it. So there are many ways to get the message across, and I'm gonna make sure that message gets across. My bright light, because everyone has a light that shines. Dr. Wise has a light. Kendrick has a light. Percival has a light. And it has to shine so bright in this dark world today. So, and we have to teach our children that too. So it will be soon. Yes, Dr. Wise, tomorrow up on the website at topnotchchristiancare.com, and it will soon be on Amazon. And also message me because I keep them in my car.
Don't play no game. I'll pull over.
I would definitely do that. I'm looking forward to reading it and sharing it with my grandkids. So no,
Dr. Wise, they're gonna love it because it's about representation. This is just the beginning because I'm starting a series because I see the need for it. And we're not just with boys, but also with girls because there's different type of conversations that need to be had with females and males when it comes to this type of things. So yes, it's a series too. So be on the lookout.
We'll do.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do, let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to jump into a few more topics, a little bit about burnout. We know that's important, and especially after 24 years. I know you got some good stuff for us in the game on how you still keeping this thing going, getting ready to do something new. I'm 24, but I'm like, I'm like, oh, is that the runway over there? And it sounds like you really just made a little 180 turn here.
At
All right,
47.
so let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Education Unleashed. Tonight, we're talking to Percival Gibbs. Throw the book up for us one more time. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. My Bright Light. Out now. If you look at the YouTube description, her information is in the YouTube description. Make sure go get locked in on that. So now, what I'm gonna do is Dr. Wise, I'm gonna throw this one to you because if I don't go and sneeze, y'all gonna hear some crazy stuff going on here. But I want to ask this question. Many teachers struggle with burnout. What keeps you motivated and that's the biggest piece, passionate after 24 years in this field?
I remember my why. Why do I do this? And my why is the children. Because me being a product from 5th Ward, Texas, I've always had a public education. But my teachers taught us with excellence. Like, that's what they required. The standard, Dr. Wise, was up here.
Excellent. You know, I believe in excellence. Yes.
So, Dr. Wise, my kindergarten teacher to this day, I remember the way she used to teach us. We were like little adults on this campus where she could tell us to go somewhere, relay a message, and come back because that was her standard. Mm-hmm. She would tell us
high expectations.
Her expectations, and she met these expectations. Mm-hmm. She went down the line every day.
That's right.
This is what I expected. She didn't care who you were, the quietest kid, the most talkative. It didn't matter. She would tell us, "You are somebody. Your voice deserves to be heard."
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I want to represent that now in the school system. That's my why, because we have to make an impact. Even if these kids in 5th Ward, they deserve the same type of education that those kids in River Oaks, Atascocita, Kingwood, these private schools, because I have a couple of my cousins are in private school now, and the education that they're getting, they come to me for tutoring. So why not teach my students the same thing? They deserve the same education. So now, and also he was talking about, how do I keep going without the burnout? I have to know what season I am too, because now it was time for me to come out the classroom. So that's when I went into the intervention.
Have more people. Yeah.
More. So then I started doing more small groups because there was the gap for the reading and the math. And I know that my jam is literacy. I can teach a blind man to read. We're going to read. And that's just where we are. So, and then now it's time for administration.
Teach others how to teach children.
Teach others how to teach children, because Dr. Wise, there is such a need for it.
Yes, indeed.
A PowerPoint does not teach a child.
Man,
that is a supplement. That is your resource. That's what you just use. What else are you going to do? What else are you going to bring to this lesson? You complained about lesson plans. You complained about not having time. So now we have everything at your disposal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get to work.
I would you know.
Get to work.
That PowerPoint ain't it. Ain't just it.
It's not it. It's not going to teach your kids. So now with me being in administration, because, and that's another thing too, guys. I had a principal that taught me how to teach reading. Paula Pierre, when I was at Alcott and HISD, she would walk in. I think my lesson is just everything. She would walk in and literally walk up and just take over. And at first I got upset. Then next time I grabbed a notebook and I sat down and I started taking notes, because I knew she was going to be back. And I want you to deliver this lesson the way that I taught it yesterday.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to teach reading. And that's what more people need now in the classroom, because now they have people, administration scared to go in classrooms and to model, coach.
Well, that wasn't me, but
I do not, but somehow I do not believe that at all.
You're right.
Yeah, man. So as they get ready to, as you get ready to get out of there, And we get ready to close this out for this part of the interview. What is one lesson that you hope every student will take away from their time with you? You getting out this class, you about to start working with more adults. So as this, let's say this is the last graduating class. 10 years from now, what do you want them to come back and say about you?
Of course that I was their favorite teacher, but Miss Gibbs made learning fun.
Yes. Why is it?
Miss Gibbs made learning fun because one thing about me, when I teach a lesson, it's gonna be fun. I'm dancing, I'm doing everything. Right now, I'm having to do small groups for kindergartners, and I'm doing everything. And our hands go up, and they know, and they stay there because all we do is win. They know that, like, and I'm teaching, and they're getting it because I'm making up the song. We have to be creative, but they're gonna remember me saying that Miss Gibbs made learning fun, and she loved us.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't mean to get religious on you guys, but there's a scripture in Proverbs that says, "Wise is he who brings joy to teaching." And I always kept that in my office. Wise is he. So you're a very wise woman.
Amen.
Look, you can't get through this thing 24 years without being some kind of wise right now. Unless your name was Dr. Wise. I mean, but that's a whole different story here.
Hey,
all right.
I need to trademark that name.
Hey, look. All right, y'all. Well, look, what we'll do is tell us how can we find the book? What is the website, and how do we get in contact with you?
So, of course, I'm on all social media outlets. You can message me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Facebook, on X. I'm everywhere. Just DM me, and I'll make sure I know. Make sure I get the book to you and send it to you immediately. So, and there are going to be different type of ways you can pay through Zelle, PayPal, all of that. So, I'm determined to get the message out. My bright light, your light deserves to shine. You can be awkward, socially awkward, introvert, extrovert. It does not matter. You have a light that needs to shine in this world.
Most definitely. All right. Well, what we'll do, we'll take a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going rapid fire, y'all. Let's go. I'll be all about the shameless plugs. So kttv.com, we got books, we got merch, we got classes, we got everything. Y'all just go pull up kttv.com. All right, as we get ready, this is the part. So I sent you the questions, but you didn't get these next questions. So we about to jump into a rapid fire.
Go hard or go home. Go home. Go hard or go home.
Okay, this is the rapid fire section. We are going to ask you 10 questions. Don't think about it. This is what my boy tell me every time we lift heavy. He say, you got 315 pounds on your chest. Don't think about it. Just react to it, right? So get them out for you. So we're going to go through these, and I want the first answer to come to your head. Are you ready?
Yes.
What's your favorite subject to teach?
Reading, literacy, all day, every day.
One book every child should read. My
Bright Light.
Ooh.
Love it.
Man, morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Morning, let's go. Favorite Bible verse for inspiration?
Psalm 23.
Oh,
the entire 23rd chapter.
Whoa, okay, never mind. We'll just go check it out. One word to describe your teaching style.
Fun.
Okay. What's your go-to motivational phrase for students?
All we do is win. Win.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Oh, if you weren't an educator, and I think you told us, what career would you have chosen?
I would be a writer.
A writer.
My own school, all of the above.
Yeah.
Really my own school.
Yeah.
Favorite childhood memory from school?
When my kindergarten teacher had us on the playground, and we were on the playground, and fifth graders came in and took over, and we ran away. She stood there. She said, "You go back. And we looked at her like, these are big kids. She said, no, you were there first. You stand up for yourself. Your voice deserves to be heard too. So she looked at me, Percy Jewell, and you do the talking. I said, ooh, yes, ma'am. So I went over there. Y'all have to leave. We were here first, and y'all got to go right now. And that was
she
it.
lived by the wish creed. Like that. One thing you do every day to stay motivated.
Prayer. I have my devotion every morning. I wake up every morning at 4:00. And I have to go into prayer with God and talk to him like, Lord, you sure this is what you still want me to continue to do? And he's like, yes, I need you. I need you to be in the fight. I need you to be my soldier on the battlefield. I need you to go to work. Okay.
I'm with you. I wake up like that. Some kind of way our conversation always end with me on the treadmill. It's rough. Top-notch education means
no matter where you're from, the color of your skin, you deserve a top-notch education.
That's right.
And we're going to give it to you no matter what. You deserve to learn how those kids would have private school money. You're going to get the same education. You deserve it. Everything is top-notch for me. Top-notch in the way that I treat you. Top-notch in education. Top-notch all the way. Excellence. That's all I know.
And nothing less. That's right.
And nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. That's what I tell them kids. Success, nothing less. Good job. You did cover the rapid fire, and you just kept it. You just kept it you. Like none of that was like earth shattering. Like I knew that's what you gonna say. That was
Can't
good.
be anybody but me. I'm keeping 100 all the time.
Look, all right. So what we'll do is take a quick break, and then let's get into our parent-teacher corner. Dr. Wise, I know you got some good stuff in this one because you all about the communication. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the
Yeah, I could not let this go on too much without at least shameless plug in my book too. Man, pencils least of my words. If you go get that, I mean, a bright light, you just get both of them. All right, so tonight, let's get into our parent-teacher corner. My God. All right, in this week's edition of the Parent-Teacher Corner, where we bridge the gap between the home and school to create a stronger partnership for student success, we are diving into one of the most important aspects of education, communication, right? And so we talked a lot about this. It's the way parents and teachers communicate can make all the difference in their child's learning experience. But how do we ensure that the conversations remain open, positive, and productive? And so what we'll do in this segment, we'll explore some strategies for building strong communication habits, turning difficult conversations into solutions, and creating a true partnership for parents and educators. Because at the end of the day, we are all on the same team and we are all working together to help our students thrive. So with that, the first one I have for how parents and teachers can work together is establishing open lines of communication. And so for that, the best ways for parents and teachers to stay connected would be through emails, those apps. And so I know like y'all can give me some of the programs y'all have been successful with. But then also I think one important piece is setting clear expectations for that communication from the beginning of the school year. And so I open the floor to any thoughts on that one.
Well, that communication is key. And I'm an RTI itinerant in all the independent school districts. So we have to make sure that we communicate because data comes in. Parents should know about their kids and how they're doing when it comes to the BOY, MOY, and EOY assessments, those universal screeners. Like that by law, we have to communicate that to them. So we've been on our campuses about how does that look on campuses from pre-K to middle school, because it's different. Because guys, think about it. In middle school, if you send home a hard copy of something, it might not make it home. Yeah. Now in pre-K and kinder, if we put in those folders, it'll get home. So to me, in my mind, there's 3 different ways we need to communicate: text message, email, in person, phone call. That we need to have multiple ways to communicate this. So with this data, I know recently before this week was up, my boss had a phone conference where we sent out a mass text to every parent in the district where they could get on this call to talk about their students' data, their child's data. And because letters had to go home out to let parents know your child took this assessment, the data was on it, how they communicated, because I'm the one where I go on campuses, guys, and I make sure that communication goes out. I have 8 campuses. I have one primary, 3 elementaries, and other ones are middle schools where it has to go out, whether it is through Class Dojo, it had through email, through but it has to go out. So many parents are saying how they did not get this communication. With that being said, that means we are out of compliance. At the end of the day, guys, we could be sued for that. Parents say because they make sure kids get the right services that they need because of this data. All that ties in.
Okay. And the next one, turning difficult conversations into productive discussions. And so approaching concerns with solution-focused mindset, using a respectful language and active listening to foster collaboration. And so this, Dr. Watt, I come to your campus. I got a problem with this teacher, and I'm about to let you have it. How do you turn that difficult conversation into productive?
Well, the first thing I do with my teacher when I was principal, I trained my teacher at the beginning of the year on how to conduct a parent conference. And I would definitely encourage all principals to do that, because teachers can get in a conference and they can make things far worse than what it should be because they just don't know. Because at the end of the day, no parent, and even I'm a grandparent, I have 17 grandchildren, by the way, and I know how I feel, but no parent wants to hear anything bad about their child, right? So we have to choose our words wisely. We can say a negative in a positive way. I've had teachers to come in and say, your child is lazy. Well, you've already set the tone of this conference by saying that, instead of saying something to the fact your child doesn't live up to his or her expectations. So we have to choose our words wisely when we're dealing with people, children, because you don't want to turn a already hostile situation to a worse situation. So do choose your words wisely. And we all know this, you listen to seek to understand rather than be understood. Because at the end of the day, the parents just want to be heard. They are really concerned. And I always train my teachers to invoke the care and concern statement in your conversation with parents. I am here. I call this conference, or I know you're here because you care, and I care about your child. I'm concerned about your child. That's why I ask you to be here. And be authentic, be genuine, because they know when you shaking and faking it.
Yes, they do.
They really know. So that care and concern statement, I learned this a long time ago from Diana Day. I don't even know if she's with us. I pray to God she is. But I went to her training over 20 plus years ago on conducting parent conferences. And she talked about that care and concern statement. That goes a long ways with parents. It's also helped you to bridge that gap and of trust when they know you really care about the child. I'm not here to hurt your child. I'm here to help.
Most definitely. And the next one, the role of positive feedback in student growth. And so this talks about why teachers should communicate not just concerns, but also student progress, and how parents can reinforce the positive feedback at home. I'm gonna keep going because I think we got 53. So I'm gonna get to these, and then you can give me your thoughts on after we wrap this one up. So the next one is bridging the gap between home and school, right? And so ways parents can stay engaged in their child's academic journey, how teachers can create that welcoming atmosphere for parental involvement, and lastly, create a partnership for long-term student success. And so that looks like building trust and consistency between the parent and the educator, and the importance of having those small efforts in communication that leads to big changes in student performance. And so y'all thoughts on any of those that I just wrapped up?
Well, I know with my parents, I always made sure I had a good rapport with them, even the ones that probably did not care for me. At the end of the day, they knew that I loved their child because I called them my partners in education. I told him, I said, because I can't do it without you. And that's how I would lead my parent-teacher conferences, or even when they come meet the teacher. I said, you guys are my partners in education. I would tell them, I need you. You know, I said, I need you to help me get your child where they needs to be academically. I said, I can't do it without you. So I would give them my expectations. I said, this is what I expect of you, and this is what you can expect of me as a teacher. And this is what I expect from your child. But those lines of communication have to be open to the point where they knew that even that child would know, because when I would communicate with them, talking about data, I would celebrate the small growth. You did this. Like every child knew, but this is where we need to be. These are expectations. When you over communicate expectations, the child gets excited because now they know that they can do it. So any little thing that I could praise, I would. And I wouldn't only praise the kids. Guess what? I would praise my parents. I will reward them too. I'll make a phone call. I can say that you've been working with Johnny on their letters and sounds. I see it because they're telling me my mom works with me. So bridging that gap where the parents know that I'm there for them too, because you never know either what's going on at home. Because sometimes parents cannot do it at home. Maybe they work the graveyard shift where you need to share that with me. They need to be open enough and be in this safe space where they can share that with me. Does that make sense?
That's right. Yes, that line of communication. And when you do, I agree. And when you do build that trust, they will share those things with you. And that window is very short. You should start the year with a positive with a parent. Not the first time they hear from you is a negative. So I suggest that the beginning of the year, once you know who your students are going to be, and this is what I did on my campuses when I was principal, this was a requirement. Once the teacher got your list, the teacher sent out a postcard to the parents and say, I am Miss So-and-so, so I'm so happy to have Susie Q in my classroom. I'm looking forward to a good year. I can't wait to meet you and meet the teachers. Yada, yada. You got a short window to get that positive, and that first contact ought to be a positive.
It ought to be a positive.
Do it over the summer.
Like, yeah, I love your kids.
Feel that trust. That's right. and then from there on, that made an impact on our parents. And they talked about like, wow, this teacher really cares. If she took time out to do this, it's profound.
Set the tone. Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. Well, I think that will do it for the Parent Teacher Corner. Great 5 ways and awesome insights from you all. Just going through that from the experience standpoint. Always great information. So now, as we get ready to get out of here, what I want to do, is we got about 3 minutes left. First, I'll get the last words from you, Percival, and the information again, and then Dr. Wise, you're going to take us home.
All righty.
So my book, My Bright Light, please go out and get it. It will help you navigate this parenting world with teaching your child who they are in Christ and building that confidence and making sure they have a good self-awareness about where they are, how they can share their emotions, how they can navigate their emotions, how they can talk through things, because the way that they react to things, it makes a big difference, and how to calm down certain situations. So you can get it at Top Notch, my website, topnotchchristiancare.com, on any media site, Instagram, Facebook, My Bright Light. Please go out and get it. You won't be disappointed, I promise.
Hey, there you go.
And ditto to that. I can't wait to read your book and then share with my grandkids. But I do want to say you're a rock star. I wish I could clone you and and for our school systems, because we need more teachers like you. And I'm so glad you're moving into administration. You're going to be a blessing to a lot of teachers, and who will then have impact on students. So this is a pleasure to have met you, and you have inspired me as well. And I would say to everyone, just continue to let that light shine, because you are somebody, regardless, no matter where you come from. You are somebody, and you do have a light. Let it shine. So thank you for that message.
I know I'm somebody, because God don't make no junk. Remember them posters back in the day? Man, come on, man. Woo! All right, y'all. All right, well, that will do it for us tonight. I want to say once again, thank you to my co-host, Dr. Wise, and to our guest, Percival Jewell
Yes.
Gibbs.
Thank you.
Go Buckeyes. All right, y'all. This is KT for KTTV signing out.
Dr.
100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood. This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
KTTV.
KTTV.